Hey, what's good, y'all? This is Pastor B. There will be people in your life that you will have to disconnect from. No matter how much you love them, no matter how long you've been around them, it's probably time for you to let them folks go and leave them where they are. Today's episode is we're going to talk about how to leave the familiar and how to embrace what God has called you to be and where He's called you to go. So, thank you guys for listening to today's episode. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it at this time. Here we go, y'all. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Living from Sunday to Sunday podcast. I'm your host, Pastor B. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I believe that this is the best 15 minutes of your day because real change happens 15 minutes at a time. So, again, thank you so much for tuning in. So, imagine if you've heard of a God that your parents served. You've heard of a God that your forefathers served, but you've never really had a personal encounter or even really a personal conversation with God. And then one day, random out of the blue, He speaks to you and He tells you to leave everybody, leave everything that you've ever known, leave those who love you, those who care for you, and to go to a place that He's going to show you. He doesn't give you the destination. He doesn't tell you how far it is. He doesn't tell you how long you will be traveling. But He just says, get up and leave. What's going to be your response? What will you do? Many of us, we're not really like Abram. Abram, there's no prior record in the Bible of Abram having a conversation with God. There's no history of a deep relationship that's been established prior to Genesis 12. And yet we just pop in on this scene where God tells Abram that, hey, I need you to get up and to leave everything that's familiar. I need you to get up and leave everything that you hold dear and just go. And whenever we get there, I'll tell you. I'll tell you when to turn left. I'll tell you when to turn right. I'll tell you when to stop and get rest. I'll tell you when to do all of these things, right? And so I can see Abram having a little puzzle look, little bewilderment. Like, okay, Lord, you've never talked to me. I don't really know you for myself. I just have the history of who you've been to my parents. Yet, in all of that, though, Abram just decides to go, yeah, I'll do it because you were the God of my ancestors. Noah. I remember the stories of Noah being told to build an ark and it had never rained. I remember stories of him being on the ark with all of the animals and how rains came from above and below and how you kept them through those 40 days and 40 nights. And you established this new world with Noah and how I am the offspring of this new world. And so I do want to just park here and say, it doesn't take a long history with God to trust Him. You just have to be able to know that if He did it for your foreparents, if He did it for someone that you know and that you trust, and whose model and whose example you've seen, then the same God that did it for them can do it for you. Right? Just wanted to throw that in. It is interesting though that Abram is able to recognize the voice of God, right? Um, he knows that this voice that I'm hearing, it's not himself, it's not the enemy, right? He has the ability to discern God's voice from any other voice. And many times, um, whenever God tells you to leave what's familiar, you got to make sure that it's Him. You got to make sure that it's not your desire to separate from your people. You got to make sure that it's not you just wanting to establish your own thing and just get out on your own and get from under the rule of your family, of your parents, even if you're not in the greatest of situations, right? Um, Taking a leap of faith like Abram took is a unique one because again, man, there's no map for Abram. Like there's no destination, there's no GPS. He doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He doesn't know what the terrain is going to be. God doesn't even tell him how long it's going to take for him to get there. He just says go, right? Are you willing to trust God without prior information? Are you willing to take that first step and the second step and the third step and allow God to chart the course for you? Allow Him to mark on the map. Okay, this is where the mountain is going to be. This is where the stream is going to be. This is the river in the middle of the desert that you're going to find rest and that you're going to find nourishment. Are you willing to stick with God whenever it seems like He has you out here by yourself in the middle of nowhere, right? Are you willing to trust that? And I think it's really, really important that not only do we trust Him when it's good, but that we trust Him when it's bad. That we trust Him when it doesn't look like what you signed up for, even if you don't know what you signed up for. Like in this case, Abram had no idea. He just knew his life was better with God than it was without Him. That this God of my forefathers, who performed this miracle for my great granddaddy Noah, that He can do it for me too. Right? That's some strong faith, man. I think that's one of the reasons why Abram rather is considered the father of faith. Because this right here, guys, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So not only though did God tell him to go to a place he's never been, but He also told him to leave people that he knew, to leave people that he loved. I believe in a modern context that a lot of times the things we love, the people we love, the places that we love, aren't always the best for our future. And there's nothing always wrong with people a lot of times. Like you can grow up in a really healthy situation. You can grow up with a two-parent household, educated, loving the home. But many times there's boundaries, there are levels, and there's dimensions that you can only go so far with certain people, right? There's a personal growth in my life that I had to get to absent of my natural family, absent of the environment that I was raised in, right? Nothing wrong with that environment. There was nothing wrong with the environment, right? Um, but in order for me to experience God the way I needed to, I just needed to go to a new place, right? And so for a lot of us, I think it's time for us to go to a new place. And so we have to leave them folk behind. Like we can't cling to what's familiar just because we're afraid of what's new. We're afraid of what's next. Um, there is a there's much more for us that our hands need to touch and our eyes need to see, and our there's doors that our feet need to enter into that will provide more wisdom, more insight, um, more opportunity to do greater works for God, right? And we limit a lot of times what we believe we're capable of, and we believe that all we see is all we can do. And we believe that our surroundings are the best things for us, right? Sometimes we're just lazy. We're lazy and content being the big fish in a small pond. We've taken up so much space in this small area that everyone looks up to us. Everyone um, is enamored with us. Everyone loves us. And I think it's time for some of us to go to areas that we're not known, that we're not the top on the call sheet, that we're not um, the most talented in the city, that we're not the next big thing, and for us to grow and to expand into the fullness of who God made us. Because man, it's so true that when we cling to our comforts, it stunts our growth and it delays our future. Man, I'm telling you, um, there are people who will never, ever, ever see you the way God sees you. But it's these people that you're waiting on to see what God sees, and they just don't have the capacity to do so. They don't have the desire to do so. But we love them so much, and we've grown up with them, and we've shared life with them, and we've broken bread with them, right? But they've reached the expiration of their capacity. And so it's important for us to know when it's time to cut. When it's time to cut people loose, man. Um, and those who love you will understand. Those who hate you, secretly hate you, will fuss and fight because they've been so accustomed to you being at their level. They've been so accustomed to you depending on them. They've been so accustomed to you leaning on them for everything that whenever you decide to stretch out your own wings and to jump out the nest, and just however you land wherever your feet find you, you take refuge, right? You're like Abram. I'm leaving my family, my folks, my friends, and I'm pursuing a future with God. And wherever He takes me, that's fine. And so I'm praying that we have the courage to leave some folk behind. Lead them folk where they are, and you pursue what God has called you to do. You pursue um, the the lane, the career that God has called you to do. If you got to switch jobs to do it, do it. If you have to change physical locations, do it. If you have to change a mental location where you no longer think about the same things, where you no longer hang around the same group of people, where God is expanding you and elevating you so that you have to hang around a different group of people. Do it. Yes, it's new. Yes, it's unfamiliar. You may think that you'll be lonely, but you got God with you. And you plus God is a majority. God is the majority by himself. But with him, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing that will stop you other than you. I got to tell myself that all the time. There is nothing that will stop me but me. And so while I've been dragging this anchor, trying to, keep the ship from moving, I gotta pull this anchor and say, yo, it's time to go. It's time to really be the people that God has called us to be. It's time for us to really pursue um, who we are in God. And we can't let our love for the past keep us from moving forward. All right. This is your encouragement today. I thank y'all so much for listening to today's episode. Um, this episode, as well as all of the other ones, are available everywhere where podcasts can be found. Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever we're located, you can find us there, man. Wherever you listen to podcasts, search Living from Sunday to Sunday. And of course, you all always have the opportunity to become a monthly subscriber and join the Unity community. Click on the show notes, support this show. It'll send you to the podcast website, and you can become a monthly subscriber for as low as $3 a month. I'm actually, I just recorded a little video that I'm going to have as bonus material as well. So you don't want to miss that. So make sure that you become a monthly subscriber. All right. Well, thank y'all again for tuning into today's episode. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Bye, y'all. Thank you for listening to the Living from Sunday to Sunday podcast. All episodes are available everywhere where podcasts can be found. Make sure that you like the show, download, and subscribe so you won't miss out on any of the future episodes. Remember, real change happens between Sundays. Talk to you soon.